Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Look what we have today. This is a very cool watch. This is the M.A.Ds 1 and it comes from the creators of MB&F. Now if you haven't heard of MB&F, they make extremely high-end watches. Start at around about 60,000-70,000 ish and go all the way up into the hundreds of thousands, and they're completely wacky and they look fantastic. But one day the marketing director said, I want a watch which basically, I could see my friends owning or family or whatever. And he came up with the M.A.Ds. M.A.Ds actually stands for Mechanical Art Devices. And let's face it, this I think is true art. Now, he made these originally in blue, and they were only available to previous owners of MB&F watches and suppliers. Very quickly, they all sold out. And so the following year said he'd make a few more, and he made them in red. And as far as I know, there's roughly 400 zinc pieces, and the demand from was incredibly high. I myself tried to buy one, and they did this really kind of interesting way of buying one. You had to go onto their lottery. Tickets were free. If you actually won the lottery, you'd then be allowed to buy one. And I think that system is so fair. Now, unfortunately, my ticket didn't come in, so I didn't actually get to buy one of these, which is a real shame because these now go for, I think, around about 3,000-ish new, and they're now about 10 to 12,000 pounds. But who cares? They just look the biz. They look absolutely crazy. Now, let's zoom in a little bit closer on this. The actual size of this watch is a 42mm diameter. It is a rather chunky 18.8 mil. Now, automatically, I know people are going to say, oh, it's far too big. Remember, quite a few, like a Zim 104, let's think, the Rolex Sea Dweller, they're all around about 16 mil plus. So it's only a little bit bigger, and it's only taken up quite a bit by that nice dome crystal there. So, it's not really as big as what you think. It's 50 mil lug to lug. The strap size is 24 mil, but it does taper quite a bit down there. Now, I'm going to say dial, but it isn't, is it? How many times do you see people when they look at a watch and it has a clear display case on the back, they go, oh, I wish, it almost looks like it should be the other way around. You should be able to see this. Well, that's what they've actually done here. As you can see, you see the movement, but most importantly, you see this amazing rotor. Now, the movement, this is how they got the price down. The movement in this, it's only a Miyota 821A. So, a watch costing a few £1,000s, Bob over there is wearing an Obus Morgan with that similar movement in that, and that was 260 quid. But who cares? This looks fantastic. They have modified a movement, obviously, but they've also put this nice titanium piece on the back here, this rotor with the tungsten ends. And because it's unidirectional winding, it only winds when it goes counterclockwise, which means when it's going clockwise, the watch, it's not going to do it now, is it? Typical. The rotor just loves to spin. And the whole time it's on your wrist, it keeps spinning. You can't help but look at it. This is a kind of watch you'd almost want to play with, because it's like those spinners people used to get on their fingers and used to play with. This is the same thing here. What I love is the detail they've gone to, where they've really beveled the edges off nicely. They've covered it in lume, and this watch does glow really well. Now, not only have they done the lume around here, but you'll see in a second on the side. So you might be asking straight away, well, how on earth do I even tell the time on this watch? Well, that's where you've got to go around to the side here. And this, you see the hour and minute markers coming around there. So this is another way in which they've modified the movement. Instead of having hands on this watch, where the hands go, they've created discs running off it. Now, you're going to get people going, well, again, how do you tell the time? Well, this is the hour marker, and here are the minutes markers. So at the moment, you're talking, it's around about, according to this watch, just coming up for 23 minutes past 4, or thereabouts anyway. Now, some people say, well, you can't even tell. Watches like my Panerai don't even have a minute marker on there. They only do it in 5-minute intervals. And if you're really that keenly after knowing the time perfectly, get yourself something with minute markers and a second hand. But there you go. I just think this looks tremendous, and it's all made out of sapphire. This is sapphire crystal. This is sapphire crystal blending all the way around here, and it just looks so wacky and out there. The hour markers and minute markers are all loomed up, plenty of loom. Now you can see it's got this kind of, the case here is exposed from the sapphire. It's almost like they want you to think it's kind of just sank and placed on top of this, and I think it just looks absolutely crazy for it. You can see we've got a crown there. This isn't screwed down or anything. You only have 30 meters of water resistance, but if I actually, let's say I turn this crown now, you can see how we're setting the time. So you can set the time that way. So there you go, that is 4 o'clock. Click in and there you go. Now when we look from the back of this watch, let's take this off here so you get a really nice view. This just looks so good. This X frame round there, all steel, and it must be bonded to the sapphire from the inside, because I believe you get into the watch, because some of you might be thinking straight away, how do you access the movement? Now from what I can tell, it looks like there's a small lip there, so you'd pry that open there to get to the actual movement. But I don't know if I'd want to tinker with this one. This looks a little bit special. So I love this kind of exoskeleton thing they have going on. It looks absolutely superb. Now the actual clasp and buckle system on this, you've got a butterfly system. Press down, that goes in and it clicks down there, and it's a nice big chunky keeper. Would I have it on this strap? I'd probably change it and go with something else, but that's just me. Anyway, let me zoom out and we'll put it on my wrist and see what we think. Now, I say, when I didn't win the lottery on this one, it sounds so strange, win the lottery to be allowed to buy a watch, but there you go. I actually went out and brought my Zinn 144 instead, because they were pretty similar prices. So quick wrist check, 144. Bob's wearing a Nobis Morgan C Star 60. Now my wrist size is just over 7¼ inches. Let's just put this down and put that in. Now one thing I should say, these sold out immediately, and because they did, the used market for them is absolutely crazy. You're talking between 10 and 12,000 to buy one of these on the open market at the moment. And I completely, utterly understand why. Just looking at a rotor go, it is insanely fast. I think there's no other watch like it. For that price point, it is just absolutely crazy. This watch just, it screams, look at me, which isn't always a good thing depending on which city you happen to live in. But it really is one of those watches which really stands out, and I absolutely love. You know me, if they can do something slightly different, I think they've actually, just an amazing watch. Anyway, let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. So all the best and stay safe out there. Take care. Bye.